Well, congratulations, you received an offer because we are on step 7, receiving an offer and how to review it. So with every single home seller, me personally, how I review an offer is I hop on Zoom, I send you an invite, I share my screen, and we go through the entire offer together. Typically the offer is gonna start up with the pre-approval, right? If somebody's coming with a loan and they don't have a pre-approval letter, that's a conversation we need to have because we're not gonna be willing to take the house off the market if somebody isn't already pre-qualified for the house. It just doesn't make sense. And then we're gonna go through the listing agreement. We're gonna make sure that the seller's property disclosure is signed. We're gonna go through the loan contingency together. We're gonna go through detail by detail of the entire offer from start to finish to see what the offer is. Does it make sense to accept? Do we need to have a counter offer? Should we just shut the offer down completely? Or should we set a timeline that we're reviewing offers on to see if we get another one? And we need to understand the different components of the offer because there's a few things that are gonna be huge that we need to talk about. Number one, what is the purchase price? What is the due diligence period? How much did they put down for earnest money? What's the closing date gonna be? What contingencies did they put? How much money did they offer or ask you for in closing costs, right? Seller concessions. Also, what are, I think I already said this, but the financing contingencies, because there's gonna be contingencies within the normal contract, underneath the special stipulations, and also they might have financing contingencies, and we need to make sure that we know everything from start to finish. It's very, very, very important because every little detail could completely change everything. You could have a full asking price, $0 to you in closing costs, and then they offer over asking price. Wow, so excited, so excited. And then it's an FHA loan here in the state of Georgia. And attached is gonna be the FHA financing contingency, and you gotta have it signed. And if you sign that document, what's gonna happen is you're agreeing that you are willing to pay appraisal value. Let's say you put your house on the market for $400,000, it appraises at $385,000. All of a sudden, you just dropped $15,000, and if you aren't willing to pay $385,000 or sell for $385,000, guess what the buyer can do? They can take their earnest money deposit and they can walk away from the deal if you're not willing to accept. So we need to make sure that we go line by line, detail for detail, and you give me the ability to counsel you on all of the details via Zoom while we're on it together. There's no texting back and forth. I will text you and let you know that there's an offer in, but what we really need to do is get on a Zoom call so we can really get everything unturned and we can go detail for detail. And then we can dive into the financing contingencies and other contingencies a little bit. So financing contingency is the time frame in which the buyer has the ability to obtain financing. So say they give 20 days or 25 days on a financing contingency. What would have to happen is the bank themselves would have to write you a letter and say, hey, this person cannot obtain financing, and they are able to back out of the deal. Also, other contingencies that are in play. If we went to market too high and the house sat on the market for too long, contingencies are gonna continue to keep going up and up and up as time goes on, and the buyer is gonna gain more and more leverage. So within a buyer contingency, for example, they could say that the seller is going to pay X amount of dollars in closing costs and that the seller is gonna make this repair, this repair, this repair, because you have to go through the inspection and the appraisal. So real important, if you're watching this before we price your house, we have to price it at fair market value, build up so many buyers interested in this house so they start competing with each other, and that's the only way to get more money. Because let's talk about the appraisal here real quick for a second. If that house, it only appraises for $300,000, the bank's only gonna be able to and willing to give $300,000. Now the bank can give you millions of dollars, they have plenty of money, but they're only gonna be willing to provide that buyer with $300,000. The only way for us to get more than $300,000 is to have buyer after buyer lined up with offers ready on the table, because we build up so much competition because we properly priced your house that we can say, hey, buyer number one, as much as we'd like to be able to give you a deal on this, we have other buyers lined up that are willing to pay $315,000, for example. So you either need to pay the $310,000 that you offered, or we're gonna have to accept another offer. Right? We want to have the leverage, so it's important to go through those contingencies together to understand where we're at, what leverage that we have, and where we should go to move forward. And also on the contract, there's going to be something called a timeline. It's at the bottom of the first page of the listing agreement, and it's going to show when the offer expires. If an offer comes in, and let's say it's a Monday evening and the offer expires on a Wednesday evening, we don't have to jump on it right away. right? We have that 2-day period and we can see if other offers come in to see if another buyer is willing to compete, because now we have some leverage. And when a buyer's agent asks to show the property, I can say yes. However, we already have an offer on the home, but we're reviewing them Wednesday afternoon. So go and take a look at the house. And if you want to make an offer, make sure it's in before then. And that kind of goes into multiple offers. So what we can do, if we go to market at the right price, we have a bunch of activity and we receive an offer, we can make a public announcement and we can put it on the MLS and some other areas, and I can make sure that I reach out to every single agent that has shown the house and schedules to show one saying, hey, by the way, we're gonna review offers on X date. If you wanna get an offer in before then so you can get yours accepted, let us know before blank. Now let's talk about accepting an offer. And guess what? You don't have to. You're the one selling a house. If you get an offer that you're not happy with, you don't have to accept it. So there's really 3 things you can do. Number 1, accept it. Number 2, reject it. Or number 3, we can come up with a counter offer. So I could go more in depth into this video about the offers themselves, and we could go line by line and take a look at an actual offer, and I can break it down. But at the end of the day, every situation is gonna be different, and it's easier for us to just do it together on a Zoom call. But let's say you're not selling your house right now and you have more questions about the process, just shoot me a text, 478-888-7808, or comment below and I'll get right back with you and we can talk about it a little bit more. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching till the end.